Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and the time has come for Deku's final quirk to be revealed as the war arc accelerates to unprecedented levels. Dabi is about to uncover his full backstory before he tries to murder Shoto. Toga is preparing to use Sad Man's Parade. Burnin' is looking hot, so let's get into it. You guys know what to do. If you enjoy our videos and you want to encourage us to keep it going, just leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it really helps with that YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to the channel or you watch our videos but you haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, remember that subscribing and hitting that bell is a direct way of supporting this channel, and it's completely free. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Anime Uproar. Finally, this video will of course contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. The latest chapter starts off with Deku actually flying across the ocean and trying to make it back to the mainland on his own. In my previous review, I was wondering if maybe he was moving so fast that he was actually walking on water, but no, it turns out that he's using a combination of multiple quirks to essentially fly over the ocean. He is mixing float and Fajin and Air Force to fly across the ocean, but even with those powers, Deku is worried that he is still too slow. We can't forget that he has literally hundreds of kilometers to cover, and with no objects to grab onto because he's on the ocean, Black Whip can't help him move faster by slinging off of them. This means that Deku can't really increase his speed any more than this unless he takes some more drastic measures. And so Deku starts thinking about maybe using the full 100% to make it back to the mainland faster, but that is when the second user appears and tells Deku to calm down. Deku is clearly losing his cool, and he's allowing his decisions to become muddled because he is so desperate to get back to UA and help his friends against Shigaraki. The second user warns Deku that using the full 100% now would run his equipment into the ground before he even reaches the battlefield. And so instead of meeting Shigaraki at full power, he will already be weaker and exhausted. The second user then asks Deku if he tried to activate his quirk, the final quirk in One for All, and Deku admits that yes, he had. But the second user warns him against doing that, and he says that his quirk has to be a last resort. After melding with One for All, his quirk has become much stronger than it used to be back when he was its user, and this creates a problem. Apparently, the second user's quirk has transformed into a very useful but very specific type of power. It is way beyond what it used to be, and in fact, it is now well beyond their ability to control it. All of this is giving me some serious quirk singularity vibes, and it is clear that Deku's final quirk is not only strong, but dangerously strong. Even the original user of this quirk is warning Deku that it has to be used as a last resort because there is a very real possibility that the quirk has already become uncontrollable. And this means that using it could have serious unintended consequences. The second user tells Deku not to panic and not to try to use the quirk now. He has to believe in his friends, and he has to have faith that they will be able to keep Shigaraki under control until he arrives. And honestly, this exchange was so interesting. I mean, we all know that Deku's final quirk will be strong, but what can this quirk be that it is so dangerous and uncontrollable? We don't know what this quirk is, but we do know that it must be something that would be useful to Deku in this specific situation that he is currently in. That means that whatever the final quirk may be, it has the ability to somehow speed up Deku's arrival time. Although it seems that the potential cost of using it seems to outweigh the benefits, at least for now. Stick around until the end of the video because I will be talking about what I think this final quirk could be, but for now let's talk about the rest of the chapter. The action then shifts back to Octo Island where Ochako and Tsuyu are still facing off against Himiko Toga. Toga proclaims that she is done with all of them and she vows to carve out her own path. She then touches her pouch, the one holding the blood vials, and she thinks of Twice. The implication is clearly that Toga is thinking about using Twice's blood to initiate Sad Man's Parade, although it would be kind of silly of her to do that on Octo Island. Now that Deku has left, even if Toga single-handedly takes out all the heroes on the island, that won't have much of an effect on the battle. I mean, no offense to Gang Orca and all the other heroes here, but they're not exactly top billing, if you know what I mean. As Toga and Ochako prepare to clash, both of them determined to fight for their true desires, the chapter shifts locations yet again, and this time we're in Kamino. This is the place where Dabi and Shoto were transported to, along with Ida, Endeavor's sidekicks, and a bunch of creepy overpowered Nomu. Everyone is surrounded by a sea of flames as Dabi just fries everyone and everything in sight. It is implied that his flames have already thinned out the hero's numbers, meaning that he has already killed a bunch of heroes with his flames. Many of the remaining heroes, including Ida, are struggling to deal with the insane heat that is being generated by Dabi's flames. They are forced to stay back so as not to get sucked up into the inferno, and so Shoto along with 3 of Endeavor's sidekicks seem to be the only opponents that can resist Dabi's flames for long enough to confront him in battle. And one of these sidekicks is the smoking hot waifu Burnin, so Horikoshi, I am watching you, my dude. You promised us no more waifu casualties, okay? Be cool. Anyway, the sidekicks are going to be supporting Shoto because he wants to take the lead in taking Dabi, aka Toya, down. Shoto believes that it is his duty to stop his brother, and due to the nature of his quirk, Shoto is perfectly positioned to resist and counter Dabi's flames. And Shoto says as much to Dabi. He tells him that Endeavor didn't order him to be here, and neither did anyone else. He insisted on being the one to stop his brother. Now, Dabi believes that this only proves that Shoto has become nothing more than Endeavor's puppet, but Shoto doesn't care what Dabi thinks. As long as he can help Endeavor take his mind off of Dabi so he can focus on being a hero in this difficult time, Shoto is satisfied. All of this is intensely personal for Dabi. He relishes the opportunity to fight his younger brother, Endeavor's so-called ideal specimen, and the 3 sidekicks that Endeavor himself had personally trained. In the past, Dabi has already vowed to kill Shoto before he takes out Endeavor, just so Endeavor would have to live with the knowledge that his perfect son is dead and he is to blame. So this showdown between Dabi and Shoto was always going to happen. In fact, we know that this is deeply personal to Dabi because in order to keep up his flame attacks, he is actively burning his body worse than ever before. The skin on his face and pretty much everywhere else is burning off rapidly, but Dabi simply doesn't care. He is smiling from ear to ear as he embraces this new war, the final war between the heroes and the villains, those who want to save the world and those who want to destroy it. The chapter ends as Shoto asks Dabi why he took so long to reveal himself after he initially disappeared and was presumed dead. Why didn't he ever come home after he was injured in that fire? Where was he all this time? As the skin melts off his face, Dabi agrees to finally reveal his full backstory to his brother Shoto. He promises to tell his little brother why his flames were never extinguished and how they were able to surpass even those of Endeavor's masterpiece, and that is the final panel. The text on the final page promises that we are about to learn the rest of Toya's twisted backstory, possibly in the very next chapter. This is something that I have been talking about ever since Dabi first revealed himself as Toya back in Jakku. We still only know a small part of his backstory. We know about his childhood as Toya, and we know that he was caught up in a horrible fire and that he was presumed to be dead because fragments of his jawbone were found at the scene. But we don't know anything about him for a period of over a decade. He eventually shows up as the villain Dabi, but what happened in the meantime? How did he survive that fire when he was clearly severely injured? Did someone step in to rescue him? If so, why didn't they report that they found a kid who was badly injured? Why didn't they take him to the hospital? Was Dabi rescued by a villain? Maybe even All For One himself? Also, what was he up to for all those years between his accident and his first public appearance as Dabi? Was he just using that like 10 years to get stronger, or was he up to something that we don't even know about yet? Maybe something that he is about to reveal to Shoto. I've always been curious about this part, because a severely injured kid didn't just survive on his own for over a decade. There must be something more going on here, and I can't wait to learn the full dark truth. Definitely let me know down in the comments what you think happened to Toya in the time between his accident and his first appearance as Dabi. Was he saved by the villains? Was something else going on here? Will we finally learn something about Deku's dad in relation to Dabi's secret backstory? Let me know down below. Finally, let's get back to Deku's final quirk, because this is really big and really important. So the only clue that we have about this quirk is the fact that the second user was apparently able to blast through a thick steel vault in order to rescue the first One For All user from captivity. We also know that the second user used some sort of gauntlet on his left arm, so all of this suggests that his quirk should be some sort of offensive blasting ability. And I mean, yeah, a powerful blast would likely be able to propel Deku forward faster, so it would make sense for him to consider using this quirk in the moment that he is currently in the story. But if this was just some simple blasting quirk, then why all that talk about it being a last resort and potentially incredibly dangerous and uncontrollable? We've seen plenty of blasting type abilities before, and that just doesn't strike me as some sort of world-shaking ability with extremely dangerous repercussions. I might be wrong, like it might be some type of blast that could just keep going through things until it hits an unintended target or something. So it's like you can't control it once you unleash it, it just keeps going. But again, if we look at the vault door that the second user had opened, it wasn't really destroyed in any way. It didn't even really have a hole in it. If I had to guess what his quirk could be, I would say some sort of time manipulation ability. If Deku could potentially slow down time for others or speed it up for himself, he could certainly get to the mainland faster. And of course, whenever you're dealing with time-based powers, there is always a lot of potential for something to go horribly wrong. But if this were the case, then how would time powers relate to that vault door, which is our only real clue about the true nature of the second user's quirk? Well, perhaps the second user has the ability to speed up the time for certain things, such as a door. So perhaps he was able to speed up the door's aging process to the point that it was weakened, and he was then able to blast it open using his gauntlet. In this scenario, the gauntlet would just be a cool accessory that he uses in conjunction with his time powers, just an additional weapon and not part of his quirk. Now, I know that this is a stretch, especially if we're talking about aging a steel door to the point that it would become weaker. Like, yes, it's possible, but that would not be an easy task. It would take a very long time. But hey, time-based powers would be super cool to see, especially in the final battle between Deku and Shigaraki. Personally, I don't really know what other dangerous power the second user might have, so this is my personal guess if I had to make a guess right now. Please feel free to share your guesses down in the comments. What is the second user's quirk, and why is it so dangerous? I look forward to reading all of your creative ideas down below. If you guys enjoyed this Boku no Hero video and you want to see more in the future, leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it really helps me out. And remember that subscribing and hitting that bell is a completely free but very important way of directly supporting the channel. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Anime Uproar. I want to give a big thank you to all of our Anime Uproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. Special thank you to Kyle Salisbury. This man is an absolute mad lad and a disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who rise above all other clans, including Alpha Sigma, Ingrata, Aljatal, Pate Heffa, the Red-Haired Fox, Hinokami and Water, the Toasted Chi, Corey McGowan, Spidey Leftanel, Tungsten Tarkus, Big Buddhist, and Jeremy Cummings. Finally, thank you also to our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Steelers, Angel Cruz, Alicia Octor, Bonnie Parks, Joanne Garcia, Fatboy Games, Kaido Might Be a Duck, Jessica Rabbit, Jeremy Phillips, and Olivania. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value for you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single dollar will give you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos, along with these amazing people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.